Hi, my name is Andy Tidy. Welcome back to another episode of Canal Hunter Series 6. We are looking for the lost sections of canals which existed in the areas around Dudley. And after last week's heavy, unrelenting industry of the Pensnett branch, we've got something of a change. We're going to explore the Fens Branch, complete with the 3 reservoirs above it. And far from the disgusting filth of the entrails of the iron industry, we have something really quite spectacularly beautiful. Fens pools. Let's take a look. See, in this episode, we're leaving behind the industrial hell of Hartshill, Woodside and Round Oaks, and we find ourselves in a surviving fragment of Pensnett Chase, an area which used to stretch all the way out to Canal Chase, 20 miles to the north. This area used to be a medieval hunting ground for the barons of Dudley. Subsequently, the area was predictably heavily industrialised and also heavily mined. But the coal under here was worked out about 100 years ago, and the last industry, which was the brickworks, was closed down along with the railway in 1960. And then in the 1990s, Dudley Council reprofiled the whole area, flattened the colliery waste, and they'd filled in the old clay pits, turning what was a scruffy piece of old redundant Industrial Revolution age waste ground into something really rather beautiful. This is the course of the old mineral railway, built by Lord Dudley to provide a quick and easy connection through from the mines and the ironworks out to the Stourbridge Worcester Canal. You know, it's finding spots like Fens pools that make this canal hunting all rather worthwhile. A lot of the time it is grim industry, which is interesting, but frankly not very beautiful. And then you come across little oasis like this. Not somewhere where I would ever think to come for any other reason. But it is one lovely spot and a good place to get an aerial perspective. The Dudley Council reprofiled this area in the 1990s, flattening out the colliery waste tips and filling in most of the old clay pits until we have what we see today. With the middle pool reinstated, so taken as a whole, the 3 lakes now represent the largest body of open water within the borough of Dudley. Now, we're going to tackle this particular section of Lost Canal rather back to front. We're starting at the high point by the reservoirs, and then we're dropping down to the still navigable canal at Leys Junction. Back to front, but it seems to form a natural link to the Stourbridge Extension Canal, which we'll be going to next. This valley was the site of 3 significant interconnected reservoirs. The Fens Pool, which you can see here at the top, the Middle Pool lower down, and then finally Grove Pool at the bottom. Grove was actually built at the same time as the Stourbridge locks were built, but it was immediately clear that it wasn't up to the task, and the other 2 were built further up the valley. This whole area sits on top of the thick coal seam. A seam of coal which is 30 feet high, and taken with its little cousins Broach and Heathen, represented a massive opportunity to extract minerals. At this point it was about 500 feet underground, well within the technology of the day. And as was the case elsewhere in this area, coal mining and canals make uncomfortable bedfellows, and the Middle Pool especially was forever suffering from subsidence damage from the Himley Colliery and its various pitheads dotted around the area. By the late 1800s it had all but vanished, but the pool we see today was created after the mining and the associated pumping had ceased and was reprofiled by Dudley Council. These days its full title is the Buck Pool and Fens Local Nature Reserve, and it's a great open space to come for a walk, with the surviving railway embankment offering great panoramas of the area. So after walking down the hill past the 3 CRT owned reservoirs, we come to the end of the Fens Branch. First mentioned in an Act of Parliament when the original canal was created from the Staffs and Worcester to Stourbridge. This canal had 2 very large additions added on as an addendum. The first was up the Stourbridge 16, effectively to here, or the bottom of what became the Delph Locks, and then the Delph Locks upwards, which became the Dudley Canal, or the Dudley No. 1 as it's now known. So this was the tail end of the Stourbridge Canal, completed in 1779, and essentially continues on under the guise of the Dudley Canal. It shared engineers, shareholders and management committees. To be perfectly honest, it was all one and the same thing. This canal terminus was very aptly named Wide Waters, as most of this broad expansive basin was made over to the loading and unloading of boats. They were loaded up with coal that came down from the valley above, and there were also railway sidings which came out from the Pensnett Railway, another of the Earl of Dudley's endeavours. And this is the remains of Brockmore Bridge, shut down in the 1960s when the canal above fell into disuse. I've got to say, what we now see is looking very, very canal-like. But we've yet to reach the navigable section. For that, we need to press on a little bit further. Well, this represents the technical limit of navigation. In reality, the practical limit of navigation is the railway bridge ahead, or it certainly was for many years, because there's so much rubbish in the water you can't get past it. Well, this is it. We've reached the end of the unnavigable bit of the Fens Branch, which in reality is merely the final half mile or so of the Stourbridge Canal. These days you could possibly get a narrowboat maybe 100 yards up that way, but the debris underneath the railway bridge is so bad that you really couldn't get any further. But there is still one little arm that you can access with a proper boat, and that is right behind me. It's the start of the Stourbridge Extension Canal. And if you don't mind the seclusion, it makes for one very nice, if somewhat overgrown, mooring. Whereas the Pensnett Canal episode was all industrial history, this section I found has been much more peaceful and scenic. If you want to come out and explore this area, I would suggest that you start at Parkhead, work your way down the Pensnett, and then pick up the parkland near the reservoirs. And then you can drop down the hill to here on the level with the Dudley Canal, about 100 feet down below the point you started at. And then of course you can circle all back up past the glorious Delph Locks. All in all, that makes for one pretty good canal hunting day in my book. Well, that's it for this edition of Canal Hunter. I hope you've enjoyed seeing the final fragment of the Fens Branch and the 3 reservoirs which climb up into the park beyond it. Next time we'll be exploring the Stourbridge Extension Canal, which you can see behind me. Anyhow, for now, cheerio, happy hunting, and I'll see you soon.